This video will concentrate on informing you about the poaching of wildlife. Legal hunters kill tens of millions of animals worldwide every year. For each of those animals killed legally, another is killed illegally. The act of poaching is in fact a quite common problem. Poaching is when an animal is killed illegally. There are numbers of factors that make this problem illegal, depending on the animal, the country, the time of year, etc. Most often, it occurs when an animal possesses something that is considered valuable. Every year, animals across the world are added to the endangered species list. This problem continues to evolve. Even though there are attempts being made to control and stop it, animal population continues to suffer and decline. The reality of this problem is that people know that it's wrong, but because of the lack of enforcement, they feel as though they won't get caught. Therefore, they do it anyways. There needs to be an international recognition and enforcement to stop poaching before the harm is irreparable. While some forms of poaching are more harmful than others, all poaching possesses a danger to animal population and the balance of nature. In North America, poachers illegally kill large numbers of deer, elk, black bear, turkey, moose, cougar, bighorn sheep, mountain goat, as well as various species of fish such as walleye, sturgeon, and salmon. Trophy heads of these animals all fetch high prices. Fetuses, antlers, antler velvet, hooves and tails of deer, elk, and caribou, the feathers of eagles and other birds of prey, and the gallbladders, paws, penises, claws, and teeth of bears are also items in demand, causing the death of these animals. This is an injustice to animals. Their lives are being wasted because most poachers aren't hunting to survive or to feed their families, but to make a profit. Nature has its own way of keeping things in balance. There is supposed to be a certain number of prey versus predator, and when the act of poaching is present, it upsets the balance and causes a negative impact on the environment. For example, when the gray wolf was allowed to be hunted, it led to their near extinction, and the elk population grew and caused a bigger problem because they were now overpopulating. If nothing concrete is done to prevent poaching, the animal population will reduce, and some animals will be added to the endangered species list, and others will cease to exist. Are we just going to sit around waiting for all the animals in the world to end up on the endangered species list, or even worse, them all be extinct before we realize that poaching is a cruel and illegal act that could soon kill the race of animals? At the beginning of the 2000s, there were a few million African elephants and approximately 100,000 Asian elephants. Elephants are now one of the most endangered animals on Earth. There are now only an estimate of 450,000 to 700,000 African elephants and 35,000 to 40,000 Asian elephants. In 2012, 668 rhinos were poached in South Africa. As of January 2013, it increased to 946. These animals were poached at a rate of 2 per day. We are now in 2016. Who knows what the rate's at now? In 2011, an estimate of 3,890 tigers were poached. Tigers are highly endangered because of us. You might not find this meaningful because these animals aren't in our country, but it does happen here in North America. Maybe this will make you think. 5 out of the 8 bear species in the world are endangered, and the black bear is one of them. Are we going to keep doing what we're doing until this problem grows as big as it is in other countries? I really hope not, because if we keep doing as we're doing right now, killing animals not for the food it provides for us, but for one little gallbladder from a bear or the antlers from a deer or a moose, I can guarantee you that it will. Although poaching happens more in other countries than it does in North America, that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen here. Poaching is one of the biggest problems the enforcement officers have to deal with. Many people think that poaching is just one law and one action, but it isn't. It's many. Some forms of poaching include hunting or fishing without the required licenses, hunting at night or using lights, unsafe hunting or fishing practices, hunting out of season, exceeding the individual hunting or fishing permits, hunting in closed areas, wasting game, hunting endangered protected species, and trafficking in wildlife or wildlife parks. For this problem to mean more to you, and for all of us to realize that it's also happening in our country, in our own backyards, and that it is a bigger problem than it might seem, I will use the comparison of an iceberg. We only see the surface of this problem, but I'm going to try and bring out the whole iceberg and show you that if nothing is done, the animal population will sink like the Titanic. I'll give you facts about the animals and the populations of our animals in Canada to possibly make you think twice about poaching. The black bear is ranked in the top 10 most endangered bears on the planet. Bear gallbladders can be worth as much as $30,000 US, which means 39,869 Canadian dollars. Provinces such as British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Yukon, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, and Manitoba have outlawed the trades of bear gallbladders and paws altogether. The antlers of a male bighorn sheep goes for over $20,000 US, which means 26,579 Canadian dollars. The bighorn sheep have been on the endangered species list since 1998, and yet they are still hunted till this day. Poaching isn't all about the fancy animals. While the deer and moose population is in no danger of extinction, it is still important for hunters to respect laws that are put in place to help conserve animal population. Although deer and moose hunting may be very common, hunting or killing a trophy-sized buck or bull out of season is definitely considered poaching. Also, killing too many deer or moose per season will affect their population in your area. If we keep hunting and fishing the way we do today, in some areas we will no longer have any more species of animals to fish or to hunt. Poaching is one of the biggest aspects of the animals' population decreasing these days. My suggestion is that we open our eyes and realize what we're doing. There are other aspects to the death of these animals, like the environment or natural causes, but we are the primary source. If we don't control ourselves, we will have no more animals. We need to realize what we are doing and change our ways. In my own home community, there's a sense of confusion and a blurring of the lines regarding who is entitled to hunt what, where, and when. There's a mix of citizens that all fall under different categories, and because of the lack of clarity, education, and enforcement, many people interpret things independently and do whatever they want. Other people knowingly bend the smaller rules, believing that it isn't a big deal. However, if everybody each bent a small rule, it's not so small or innocent anymore now, is it? I'm super passionate about the outdoors and also have a strong sense of justice. I believe in fairness overall and want to be able to hunt and fish for years to come. This topic really grinds my gears because people don't use common sense and respect the laws that are there for all of our benefits. Even though in 2015, Ontario's conservation officers made over 220,000 enforcement contacts, issued close to 7,000 warnings, and laid nearly 3,000 natural resources charges, this is still not enough. Many people worry that if nothing is done, the problem will just get worse. So what can be done to solve this problem? Efforts to promote public awareness needs to continue. People need to be encouraged to use the motto, "See something, say something." People need to report all incidents of poaching that they are aware of and stop pretending or ignoring that it's happening. There also needs to be more active enforcement. There is so much territory that poachers can hide in, and not enough enforcement officers to cover all the land. An increase of enforcement officers would make it more challenging for the poachers and easier for the public to make reports. Because of the current lack of officers, the poachers believe that they can easily get away with their crimes. There needs to be a stricter consequence when the poachers do get caught. If there were harsher penalties and more enforcement officers, poachers might start to think twice about whether it's worth the risk. There needs to be more equality within the government when they react to the negative impact of poaching. Their current approach is to further regulate and restrict legal hunting practices. This leads to frustration and the sense of injustice. Going out on a limb, this could lead to hunters moving over to the illegal practices. Poaching does exist in our country. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We don't have to wait for our animals to become most popular on the endangered species list before we act and do something. The more you know about the realities facing animals that are illegally poached and traded in the world, the more equipped you will be to combat these horrible injustices. I hope this video helped you learn a little more about what's going on in our world today.